Do you love all things MYR? You know, the little ant dudes from Mirrodin? Yeah, those guys. Then Urtet might be the commander for you. Urtet reads, Urtet, Remnant of Memnarch. 3 mana, legendary artifact creature, MYR. Whenever you cast a MYR spell, create a 1/1 colorless MYR artifact creature token. At the beginning of combat on your turn, untap each MYR you control. White, blue, black, red, green. Tap. Put 3+1/+1 counters on each MYR you control. Activate only during your turn. 2/2. So let's get to the deck tech, but first, a quick note. I know most people refer to this creature type as MYR. I will be referring to them as MYR for the remainder of this video. If you can't stand that, then I wish you a wonderful day and hope to see you back again for a different video. With that out of the way, let's get to some MYR. Specifically, we're starting with MYR that create colored mana. Alloy MYR is 3 mana, artifact creature MYR, tap, add 1 mana of any color, 2/2. This is the all-star MYR that produces colored mana. Although it does cost 1 more to cast than most of them, it being able to tap for any color makes it an auto-include. MYR Convert is 2 mana artifact creature, Phyrexian MYR, Toxic 1. Players dealt combat damage by this creature also get a poison counter. Tap, pay 2 life, add 1 mana of any color, 2/1. This one's new, and weird. It's like Alloy MYR at the cost of some life, which isn't the end of the world once or twice, but we can't lean on it too heavily. The next 5 MYR are all effectively the same card. They just tap for different colors of mana. They read, name, for example, Gold MYR, 2 mana, colorless artifact creature, MYR. Tap, add, insert, color of mana here to your mana pool. 1/1. In an ideal world, we want all 5 of these out as soon as possible, as it gets us the ability to tap them all and activate our commander, untap them for the combat phase, then, potentially, untap them again main phase 2 to activate our commander again. A few times of doing that and they become a true force to be reckoned with. Then we have the rest of the MYR we run in the deck in order to get tokens and build up a massive board. Palladium MYR is 3 mana, artifact creature MYR, tap, add 2 colorless to your mana pool, 2/2. This one didn't make the list of MYR for mana because it taps for colorless, which doesn't help our game plan of ramping up our board and activating our commander, but it's still decent ramp on its own, and as a MYR it also makes the cut for the deck. Knighted MYR is 2 and a white, artifact creature MYR Knight, 1 and a white, adapt 1. If this creature has no +1/+1 counters on it, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Whenever 1 or more +1/+1 counters are put on Knighted MYR, it gains double strike until end of turn. This MYR is a bit newer and can gain double strike for the turn. Very often we're going to try and put counters on our creatures, so with that in mind, we're also often going to have double strike ready and raring to go. MYR Retriever is a 2 mana artifact creature MYR. When MYR Retriever dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand, 1/1. This one can be great since we can get it big, and if they get rid of it, we get something else back. Hover MYR is 2 mana artifact creature MYR with Flying Vigilance 1/2. I love this one so much because it becomes a massive threat in this deck and is a demon of a creature. Shimmer MYR is 3 mana artifact creature MYR, Flash. You may cast artifact spells as though they had flash. This one even sees play in non-MYR decks, so you know it's got to make the cut here. Being able to flash in a bunch of artifacts during someone else's turn feels great. Don't even get me started on flashing in Darksteel Forge in response to a board wipe. Plague MYR is 2 mana artifact creature MYR with Infect. This creature deals damage to creatures in the form of -1/-1 counters and to players in the form of poison counters. Tap, add 1 mana to your mana pool. 1/1. This one has Infect, so it can help us close out the game. It can also tap for mana, which is nice as well. Ickerclaw MYR is a 2 mana artifact creature MYR with Infect. Whenever Ickerclaw MYR becomes blocked, it gets +2/+2 until end of turn, 1/1. This one can get pumped up on its own and also has Infect, so it can help us take someone out if life gain becomes a problem. MYR Galvanizer is 3 mana artifact creature MYR. Other MYR creatures you control get +1/+1. Pay 1 and tap. Untap each other MYR you control. 2/2. Pumps the team, lets us untap our MYR, or tap them again to beef up our board. It works hand in hand with our commander. MYR Battlesphere is a 7 mana artifact creature MYR Construct. When MYR Battlesphere enters the battlefield, create 4 1/1 colorless MYR artifact creature tokens. Whenever MYR Battlesphere attacks, you may tap X untapped MYR you control. If you do, MYR Battlesphere gets +X/+0 until end of turn and deals X damage to the player or planeswalker it's attacking. This one is bananas in this deck, especially since we can tap down a metric ton of MYR to get in for crazy damage before we even get the chance to connect. MYR Propagator is 3 mana, artifact creature MYR, pay 3, tap, put a token as a copy of MYR Propagator onto the battlefield, 1/1. Duplicating this doesn't trigger our commander to get any more MYR onto the battlefield. but we do get a copy of this, which can be pretty strong in its own right. Sarcomite MYR is 2 and a blue, artifact creature MYR. Pay 2, Sacromite MYR gains flying until end of turn. Pay 2, sacrifice Sacromite MYR, draw a card. 2/1. This is here because we can give it flying, and it says MYR. That's all. MYR Enforcer is 7 mana, artifact creature MYR, affinity for artifacts. This spell costs 1 generic less to cast for each artifact you control. 4/4. There's a combo with Temur Sabertooth in this where we can bounce this for 2, play it for free if we have enough artifacts, then replay it, netting us a MYR token. Then we can repeat this as many times as we have mana for to help build out our board. And if we get Intruder Alarm out and have a MYR that can tap for mana, this can become an infinite combo out of nowhere. Just food for thought. Did you know MYR have their own tribal artifact? Did you know they have 3 of them? No, seriously, they do, and they're all pretty good. MYR Turbine is 5 mana artifact, tap, put a 1/1 colorless MYR artifact creature token onto the battlefield, and tap 5 untap MYR you control, search your library for a MYR creature card, put it onto the battlefield, and then shuffle your library. This can turn our MYR into tutors to get all the colors we need, and also just make more MYR. It's an incredibly powerful card. MYR Reservoir is 3 mana, artifact, tap, add 2 colorless to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast MYR spells or activate abilities of MYR. 3 mana, tap, return target MYR card from your graveyard to your hand. This one's sweet as it can get us key pieces back from the grave. The mana for MYR is pretty cool, but that's not going to be a game changer most of the time. MYR Matrix, 5 mana, artifact, MYR Matrix is indestructible. Destroy effects and lethal damage don't destroy it. All MYR get +1/+1. Pay 5, put a 1/1 MYR artifact creature token into play. This one also goes infinite with enough MYR to tap for 5, and Intruder Alarm out. Indestructible is just gravy at that point. Now that we've covered all things MYR, let us get to the next part, which is generic good artifact cards. Fair warning though, this list isn't exhaustive. And there are certainly some cards that would be great in here that I didn't include, like Goblin Welder. Remember, just because it isn't in here doesn't mean it isn't a good inclusion for the deck. Unwinding Clock is 4 mana, artifact, untap all artifacts you control during each other player's untap step. Untap on other player's untap step gets us some crazy mana to work with. Sure, it can't be used to activate our commander on our opponent's turns, but it gives us the ability to hold up more mana, attack, and still have more defenders, etc. Nettlecyst is 3 mana artifact, living weapon. When this equipment enters the battlefield, create a 0/0 black Phyrexian Germ creature token, then attach this to it. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each artifact and or enchantment you control, equip cost 2. We're going to have a lot of artifacts sitting around in this deck, so we can take advantage of that by getting a giant behemoth germ token in order to wail on everyone. Darksteel Forge is 9 mana artifact. Artifacts you control have indestructible. This deck folds so hard to board wipes, having a way to mitigate that damage is great. Tempered Steel is 1 white. Enchantment, artifact creatures you control get +2/+2. A little bit of extra damage never hurts, but do consider running Beastmaster's Ascension instead as an alternate win con. Brilliant Restoration is 3 white. Sorcery, return all artifact and enchantment cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. Like I said before, we fold hard to board wipes, so rebuilding our board out of nowhere is really good. I would highly consider running more cards like these if you already have them. Kadol the Forge Master is a 5 mana artifact creature construct. Tap, sacrifice 3 artifacts, search your library for an artifact card, and put that card onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. 3/5. Turn our MYR tokens that we're getting into free value? Yes, please. This even gets Darksteel Forge. What's not to love? Foundry Inspector is 3 mana, artifact creature construct. Artifact spells you cast cost 1 less to cast. 3/2. Cheaper artifacts are always a good thing. Akroma's Memorial, 7 mana, legendary artifact. Creatures you control have flying, first strike, vigilance, trample, haste, and protection from black and red. That's a ton of keywords. Like, just so many keywords. Who put all these keywords here? I don't know, but I love how this turns our very tall MYR into giant flying angels of destruction. Thought Monitor is 6 and a blue for an artifact creature construct, affinity for artifacts. This spell costs 1 less to cast for each artifact you control. Flying, when Thought Monitor enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards. Card draw is card draw. While this doesn't get beefed up like our MYR do, it still nets us some value all the same. Now for the rest of the deck, we're going all in on +1/+1 counter plan. You could focus on token production if you prefer, or do a little of each, but that's not this deck tech. Abzan Falconer is 2 and a white, creature type human soldier, outlast, 1 white, tap, Put a +1/+1 counter on this creature, Outlast only as a sorcery. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has flying, 2/3. The quintessential counters matter card. Flying can just end the game on the spot if our opponents aren't prepped for it, so this card is an auto-include. Anok Bonkin is 1 and a white, creature, dog soldier, Outlast, 1 and a white. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has first strike. First strike is great as it keeps our guys around and prevents them from being taken out by a few tokens once they get really big. Alharu, Solemn Ritualist, is 4 and a white, legendary creature, human monk. When Alharu, Solemn Ritualist, enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 2 other target creatures. Whenever a non-token creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it dies, create a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying. Partner. This is a bit of an emergency card in case we start losing our creatures. While we can't beef up the spirits like we can with our MYR, we can still suit one up with a Nettle Cyst. Abzan Battle Priest is 3 and a white, creature type human cleric with Outlast 1 white. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has lifelink. Lifelink can help keep us in the game for longer. Sounds good to me. Armorcraft Judge is 3 and a green, creature type Elf Artificer. When Armorcraft Judge enters the battlefield, draw a card for each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it, 3/3. Card draw can be real good, and while it only really helps us when we have a board presence, it can be a good plan to play this out and hold on to cards until after a board wipe. Gnarled Colony is 1 and a green, kicker. You may pay an additional 2 and a green as you cast the spell. If Gnarled Colony was kicked, it enters the battlefield with 2 +1/+1 counters on it. Each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it has Trample. Trample is basically bad flying in this deck, but we love getting damage through, so we play it anyway. Tenured Inkcaster is 4 and a black, creature type Vampire Warlock. When Tenured Inkcaster enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life, and you gain 1 life. 2/2. This can turn our attacks into terrifying swings of life. Abzan Ascendancy is white, black, green, enchantment. Whenever Abzan Ascendancy enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Whenever another non-token creature you control dies, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying onto the battlefield. More counters? More spirits? More yes. Ivory Tusk Fortress is 2 a white, a black, and a green. Creature type Elephant. Untap each creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it during each other player's untap step. 5/7. This is another great opportunity to untap our MYR even more to get some more value out of them. Hardened Scales is 1 green, enchantment. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many +1 +1/+1 counters are put on it instead. That brings us to Hardened Scales. This card is super good, and I hope I don't need to explain why. And that's it. That's the deck. Did I miss anything? If so, let me know in the comments down below. If you like this video, why not give it a like? And if you really like this video, feel free to subscribe to my Patreon or even just my channel here. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful day.